Alright, welcome to this course on WhatsApp automation. In this course, you will learn how to automate WhatsApp, that is to send messages or media on WhatsApp automatically without any human intervention. And you'll also learn how to create multi-step chatbots in this course. And you'll be learning all of this step by step from the basics of automation to sending media, that is photos or PDF files or anything. And after that, you'll be learning conditional messaging. And finally, you'll learn how to interact, store, and retrieve messages in a database called MongoDB. And after that, we'll be putting all of this together and we'll be building a multi-step advanced automation chatbot for a local store, and we'll be deploying that to the cloud. Now, the bot that we'll be creating will be capable of doing a lot of things, like giving out various information about the store, like taking delivery orders, and almost does most of the customer service without the need of you manually intervening in any message, right? And in case you want to have a peek at the bot, I'll be demoing that in the next video. And almost all the services that we'll be using in this course are completely free to get started with. And if that sounds interesting, then give this course a try. The project that we will be building is for a company called the Red Velvet. And this company primarily, as you might have assumed, focuses on selling cakes. And we'll try to automate every part of their customer service. So the person should be able to know information and also order cakes. And in this video, I'll just give you an overview of the bot, and I'll also show you what multi-step means, right? So this is the welcome message, and this is their sort of iconic red velvet cake. So let me just type 1, and I want to know their contact information. So I'll just type 1 and hit enter. So as you can see, we get their contact information, that is their phone and email. Now let's say I want to know their working hours. So I'll just hit 3 and hit enter. So we work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And let's get their address. So I'll just enter 4. So we have multiple stores across the city. Our main center is at 454 New Delhi. Now let's say I want to order snacks, right? So I'll just enter 2, right? So you have entered ordering mode. So you can select from one of the following cakes to order. So you'll have to type something from 1 to 9 and 0 to go back. Now let's say I don't want to type anything from 1 to 9 and I'll type some gibberish, right? So, and I'll just hit enter. Now let's see if the bot can handle this. It can. So please enter a valid response. Now you'll get this response if you enter something which is completely irrelevant to the message, right? Now let's say I entered 728 or something. You'll get this validation error. Now let's say I don't want to order a cake and I want to go back. So let me hit 0, right? So you get the welcome page again. Now let's say I change my mind and I want to order snacks again. So I'll just enter 2. So you can select from one of the following cakes to order. 1 for red velvet, 2 for dark forest, 3 for ice cream cake, and the remaining for different cakes. So now let's say I want to order a dark forest cake. So I'll just enter 2 and hit enter. Excellent choice. Please enter your address to confirm the order. Now let's say my address is New Delhi. So as you can see, we get a thanks for shopping with us message, and your order for dark forest cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. How simple, right? Now let me show you what I mean by multi-step. Now here, when I enter 2, this places an order for a dark forest cake, right? And here when I send 2, it orders snacks. So this knows the context in which the person is sending a message. So you will be learning how to do that. So let's just go down. And all of this will be reflected in our database. So let me just go ahead and show you that. Now let me show you the users page first, and then I'll show you the orders page, right? So I'll just hit refresh. So as you can see, the status has been changed to ordered. That is, the person has ordered an item, and that item is dark forest cake. And he has sent all these messages. So he has sent 9 messages in total, and the 9th message being New Delhi, which is the last message that we have sent. Now let us go to the orders page. So as you can see, the person with this number has ordered this item to this address on this time. So if you have a delivery executive, then he can simply look at this information and deliver the item to this location. Now, along with this bot can also take multiple orders. That is, if I send hi again, you'll get another message that hi, thanks for contacting again. So it also remembers the state of our conversation. So this person has already contacted us and he is contacting us again. So you can also see that it is reflected in the message, right? Now, even if I want to order snacks again, so let's say I want to order snacks. Now, let's say I order a red velvet cake this time. So the same address. So your order for red velvet cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. And the database will also reflect this. So let me hit refresh. So you receive a new order for a red velvet cake during this time. And finally, once we build the bot, we will deploy it to a remote server and host it on the cloud. And all the services that we use, that is hosting, database, and messaging service, are all completely free to get started with and do not require any credit card information. So if you are a student, then don't really worry about that. And you'll be getting all the source code and all the files that we use in the project in this course. And on top of that, you will learn all of this in just 2 hours. So if that sounds interesting and something that you're looking for, then give this course a try. And I will see you there. Bye. Alright, so in this video, we'll be signing up for Twilio. So first of all, open up your browser and go to twilio.com. And then after that, click on sign up. And then you'll have to fill out first name, last name, email, and password. And once you do that, you might have to verify your email as well as your phone number. So once you sign up, you'll get this page. Here we just have to fill out details related to our project. So which Twilio product are you here to use? We'll be using WhatsApp automation. So this will be WhatsApp. What do you plan to build with Twilio? We are planning to build bots. So just select bots. And how do you want to build with Twilio? We'll be building with code because that gives us more flexibility. And as mentioned, we can customize exactly what we want. And what is your preferred coding language? It is Python. So just select Python. Would you like Twilio to host your code? No, we'll be using a different hosting service called Heroku, and that is completely free to get started with. And it is relatively reasonable compared to Twilio. So once you fill out all these things, just click on Get Started with Twilio. And after clicking on Get Started, you'll be redirected to this page where you'll have to activate your WhatsApp sandbox. So you can think of sandbox as a testing space for our bot. So just click on I agree and click on confirm. And after this, you'll have to send a WhatsApp message to this number to activate our sandbox. So I'll just open my WhatsApp. So I'll just send join job visit, right? As you can see, you're all set. The sandbox can now send or receive messages from this number. So our sandbox is activated. So our job with Twilio is pretty much done. But there's one setting you'll have to remember, and this is kind of the only setting that we'll be changing in Twilio. So that setting is known as WhatsApp sandbox settings. It can be found under messaging, under settings, and under WhatsApp settings. So whenever a message comes in, then Twilio queries the server for the response, right? And this is the server which Twilio queries. And if at all your server URL changes or you are using a tunnel whose URL changes, then in that case, you'll have to come in this place and then change the server's URL. And if at all you send a message and you're not really receiving a response, then this is also one of the places where there can be a fault. So you might have entered the server URL wrong or your server might be down. So this is one setting that you'll have to remember. And with that, our Twilio configuration is pretty much done. And I'll see you in the next video where we will configure MongoDB. Right, bye. All right, so in this video, we will sign up for MongoDB. To get started, just go to mongodb.com and then click on try free. And then after that, you'll have to fill out all these details. And once you fill out all these details, you'll have to verify your email address. And once you verify your email address, just click on continue. Yes, and this will redirect us to a form which we'll have to fill the basic details about what we are building. So we'll just click on build a new application. And after that, what type of application? We will just select other, and we'll just type in WhatsApp automation. And after that, preferred language would be Python. And then click on finish. And once that is done, you'll get to select a tier on which tier will you be using. We'll be using the free tier, which is completely free to get started with, and it is also more than sufficient for our purpose. So just click on create, and after this, if you want to tweak around, you can just change these, but it really doesn't matter. And after that, just once everything is done, then click on create cluster. And once this is done, we are pretty much done with signing up for MongoDB. And another thing is that you might want to change the project's name. It is defaulted as Project Zero. We'll just change it to WhatsApp so that it'll be easier to identify the project if at all you have multiple projects. So just go to this three dots and then click on project settings, and then you'll get this page. And then click on this pencil icon, that is edit icon, and then edit this to WhatsApp or any specific name that you might like. And then click on save, and this will be saved. And once you refresh, this will also change to WhatsApp. And as you can see, this has changed to WhatsApp. So that is all for now. We will configure our database in the next videos. Bye. All right, so in this video, we will be installing Python as well as PyCharm. So first of all, let us install Python. So just search for Python in any search engine, and then click on this link, which is python.org, and then click on downloads, and then download Python 3.10.1. Now, one thing is that in the project, we have used Python 3.9, but there is no significant difference between Python 3.10 and 9. So you can also use this. So let us click on download Python 3.10. Now, after that, just click on this. And there are a few options to select. One thing is that you'll have to add Python 3.10 to path. Now, what this does is this sort of enables us to use Python in the terminal. So just select that and click on install now. And then click yes. And this will take a while, I think. And during that time, just let us search for PyCharm. And then click on this. Now, there are two editions of PyCharm. One is professional, second one is community. This is one of the very few softwares by JetBrains which is available for free. So click on download for community version. And this will take a while. So during that time, let me just check on Python installation. So this is installing. For some reason, this is taking quite a while. Yeah, so setup was successful. So I wanted to show you what I meant by the path. So I'll just show you that. So let me just close this. And I'll just open terminal. So this is Windows terminal. So I'll just type in Python. So now Python will be accessible through the terminal. That is what I meant. So once if I hit enter, now as you can see, Python 3.10.1 is available in the terminal. So if I want to print hi, it prints. So Python can be accessed through the terminal. So that is what add to path meant. All right. So I hope you were able to understand this. Now let us quit this. Now let's install PyCharm. So just click on this. And you'll get an administrative prompt. So I'll just hit yes. And then click next and next again. And if you want to create any shortcuts, you can. And if you want to add it to path, also you can. But I don't really find it necessary. So I'll just click next and click install. And this will take quite a while, I think. So I'll be back once it is done. So PyCharm Community Edition is finished installing. So I'll just click on Run PyCharm and hit Finish. And then click on I confirm and continue. And now if you want to customize it, you can so you can set a different theme. If you like a white, then you can just select light. But I like dark, so I'll just select Darkula. And projects, you can just click on new project. Now, once you click on new project, you'll get this dialog. Now, I want to create a project in a folder that I know. So I'll just go to that folder and copy the path and then paste it here. So let me just do that. So this is that folder. So I'll just copy the path, and you can copy the path by clicking on this particular area. So just copy this and then just paste it. Right. And we'll be using the previously configured interpreter, which is the system interpreter, which we have just installed. So just click on this three dots and then click on system interpreter and then click OK. Right. And let it create a main.py welcome script. And also you'll see this only if Python has been installed properly. And if you haven't installed Python properly, then you will not be able to see this. And for you, probably Python 3.10 might appear, but it really doesn't matter. So just click on create, right? And I don't really want to see tips every time. So I'll just select don't show tips and then click on close. Right. And once we do this, let us run this file, right? So how do we run this file? Throughout this project, we'll be using terminal. So we'll be using terminal to run files. So just click on terminal to actually show the terminal. So in order to run this file, we need to type Python followed by the file's name. In this case, the file's name is main.py. So just type in main.py. Now we should get hi PyCharm. And that is because we are sending an argument of PyCharm. So we are getting print of hi followed by the name. So in this case, the name is PyCharm. So we should get hi PyCharm. So let us remove all this stuff. This is a bit complicated. So let us print a simple hello world program. So print of hello world. Now let me save it and now run it again. Now we should get hello world. So everything is working as expected, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. In this video, we will be installing NPM and all the related packages that we will need in this course. And NPM is short for Node Package Manager, and this comes bundled with Node.js. And Node.js, if you don't know, is a JavaScript runtime and generally used in the backend of applications. So to get started, we have to install Node.js. To do that, just open your web browser and type in Node.js and click on download. Now there are two editions from which you can choose. The first one is long-term support or LTS, and the second one is current. Now this has the latest features, but we won't be needing any of the latest features, so we'll just stick with LTS. And I am using Windows, so I'll click on Windows Installer. You click according to your operating system. Now I'll just save. Now once you open the file, you'll get the setup window. Just click next and accept the terms and click next. You can change the location if you want to, but I'll just leave it as it is and click next. As you can see, this installs npm package manager and adds it to path, which is what we want, and click next. We won't be needing any additional tools, so I'll just click next and click on install. You'll get a prompt. Just click yes. This will be installed in a couple of seconds. Now, as you can see, Node.js has been successfully installed. I'll just click finish. And now go ahead and open up PyCharm. Now just open the terminal. If it is not open, just click on this terminal icon and this will open up the terminal. Now first of all, you can just check whether npm is installed by just typing in npm space -v and hitting enter. Now this basically indicates that npm is successfully installed and the version number is 6.14.8. Now we will be installing all the npm packages. To do that, just type in npm space install space -g. This means that we will be installing the packages globally. The first package that we need is called nodemon. This basically restarts the server whenever we save any changes. You'll understand this clearly as we use it in the course. And the second package is called local tunnel. Now, whenever you create a server in your system, it stays local to your IP address. So people outside your IP address cannot have access to your server. Now, what local tunnel does is it assigns you a website URL, and when the website URL is queried, it proxies all the requests to your local server. So, in other words, it kind of makes your server accessible online. So, this is why we need local tunnel. And hit enter to install both the packages. And as you can see, local tunnel and nodemon are installed. Now we will be installing all the Python packages. To do that, just type in pip space install space. The first package is called Flask. Now this is used to create our server. And the second package is Twilio, which is our messaging API. And the third one is PyMongo. This is basically to interact with our database. And the fourth one is a dependency, and it's called DNS Python. And basically this Twilio depends on this particular package, so we have to install this and hit enter to install all these packages. So as you can see, these are all installed and we are all set. These are all the packages that we need, and I will see you in the next video. Alright, in this video we'll actually start building our bot. Before we do that, I've made a small flowchart which will give you a clear understanding on what we'll be doing. So let's look at that, and after that we'll start building. So this is that flowchart. As you can see, we have three components. The first one is the client, the second one is Twilio, and the third one is our server. So whenever the client sends a message, Twilio receives it because Twilio has access to that number, and Twilio receives it and sends the same message to the server, and it queries the server for the response. And server takes this message and generates an appropriate response and returns it to Twilio. And Twilio takes this response and then sends this WhatsApp message to the client. So this is how the bot works. So it's very simple. The message flow, as you can see, is extremely simple to understand. Now, what is our task? Our task is actually to create this server, build it, and deploy it. And after deploying, just hook it to Twilio so that whenever there's a message, Twilio actually queries the server. So that is our entire task. So let's get started. And to do that, just go ahead and open up PyCharm. Now, as you can see, we have our basic Hello World program. Now, to execute any Python program, what you have to do is just hit Python space the file's name. In this case, it's main.py, so we'll enter main.py and hit enter. And as you can see, Hello World is printed on the terminal. Now let's just clear everything because we won't be needing this. So I'll just clear this. Now I'll just show you a few settings that I'd like to change in PyCharm to improve the code's readability. To do that, just hit Ctrl+Shift+A and you'll get this pop-up. The first setting that I'd like to change is called Soft Wrap. SOFTWRAP. Now this wraps text into a new line, so it prevents text from overflowing. Like if your message is very large, it wraps into a new line. So it is turned off by default. If you want your messages to be in multiple lines, then you can just turn this on. And the second setting that I'd like to change is called Change Font Size with Control plus mouse wheel. If you turn this on, then you can control the font size by Control plus scrolling up or down. So these are the two settings that I'd like to change. Now let's get started. Now let me just hide the terminal because we won't be needing it now. So let's start by importing Flask. So from Flask, import Flask, and the second thing is request. Okay. Now Flask is to create our web server, and request is to send and get messages. Okay. Now after this, we'll have to import Twilio. So from Twilio dot twiml dot messaging response, we'll have to import messaging response function. So these are the things that we need to import. Now after this, we'll have to initialize our application. So to do that, let's define a variable app equals flask of underscore underscore name underscore underscore. Now what we have done is we have initialized this app variable to a Flask application which takes in name of the module as an argument. Now after this, we'll have to define the app's route. If you don't know what route is, I'll just explain that in a moment. For now, just type this in. @app.route. We'll be using the base route, so just a /, comma. Now we'll have to define methods through which we communicate. So let's just type in methods equals get is the first method to get messages, and the second method is post to send messages. So we'll be doing those two things, so we'll have to type in get and post. Now coming back to route, you can think of route as something which helps us distinguish between different parts of a website or a server. So, and also we don't have any pages or any stuff which differentiates parts of our application. So we'll be using this single route, that is the base route. So I hope this makes sense. Now after this, we'll have to define our main function. So let's call it reply. Okay, def reply colon. So this is where the main code goes. Okay, let's define response equals messaging response. So we are initializing response variable to messaging response function. Now after this, we'll send a response. So response dot message of let's send hello. Okay. Now for every Twilio function, it expects stringified version of response as a return statement. So we'll have to do this for every Twilio Flask application. So just type in return space str of response. So after this, we'll have to run our application. So to do that, just type in if underscore underscore name equals underscore underscore main, run the application. So what this statement means is if this is the program that is being executed, then do this operation. Now the operation is to run the application. So just type in app.run. And we'll define the port explicitly because although 5000 is the default port, it's better if we are on the same page. So port equals 5000. So we are pretty much done with our function. Now it's time to run. So we have built our basic WhatsApp automation bot which responds hello for any WhatsApp message. So now it's time to run it. To do that, just click on terminal. So we'll need to do two things. The first thing is to run our server locally, and then the second thing is to make our server accessible online. So for that we need two terminals. So just right click and just click on split vertically. And this will give us two terminals. So I'll just clear this. And in the first terminal, just type in nodemon main.py. Now what this will do is, this will watch extensions py and JSON, in our case main.py, and then restarts the server whenever there are any changes. And in the second terminal, this command is going to be a little bit longer, but I'll try to make it as clear as possible. So let me just minimize this terminal because this might take a little more space. So in this terminal, we'll execute the local tunnel command. To do so, just type in nodemon --watch. So we'll watch for any changes in main.py file, and then whenever there are any changes, we'll execute by --exec, and in these quotation marks, you'll have to type in LT, which stands for local tunnel, --subdomain. I'll type my name. You can type whatever you want, but just make sure that it is unique. And after that, just we'll have to specify the port. So --port we'll be using the 5000 port. As you can see, we have defined that explicitly. And after that, close the quotation marks. And finally, we need to mention delay for nodemon, because if at all we don't give any gap between server restarting, local tunnel will assume that this subdomain is already taken and will assign some random subdomain, which is not what we want. So just define dash dash delay. I'll use 2 seconds as delay. You can use 2 or 3, whichever works for you. And I'll hit enter. And as you can see, this URL is assigned to me, and just copy this URL and we'll have to hook this to Twilio. So just go ahead and open up twilio.com and click on console. If you haven't logged in yet, then log in and then click on console. And then we'll get our Twilio dashboard. Now click on programmable messaging, which we had pinned earlier. And then go all the way down to settings. And then click on WhatsApp sandbox settings. And then here change the URL to whatever URL that has been assigned to you. For me it is this, and I have already set this. And once you have pasted this URL in this box, make sure to click save. Okay, once you save this, we are ready to test our application. Now as you can see, this is my WhatsApp. Now before starting, make sure to send this message if you haven't already. Now as you can see, we are all set, so it has to be working right now. Now I'll just go ahead and send good morning, and it should respond with hello. So it is working as expected. Now let's change some things. Let's say we change this to hey, and the server is restarted. Now let's just send good morning again. And as you can see, the message has been changed to hey. So this was building a basic WhatsApp automation bot. In coming videos, I'll teach you how to reply with media and also conditional messaging. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. So if you're using NodeMon and you're not really getting the same URLs, that is if you're getting different URLs on saving. So for example, if I just give a space and save it, then I should get the same URL. And I am getting the same URL. But in case you're not getting, then in that case, one reason can be that the subdomain is not unique. So make sure to choose something which is very unique. For example, mango-2001-apple. And if you choose something like John or Ram, then in that case, there is a very high chance of collision. So you'll get some random subdomain. So make sure to choose something unique. And even if you know that you have chosen something unique and you're getting a different URL, then in that case, first of all, terminate all the processes. So I'll just cancel this. You can terminate by hitting Control plus C, right? Control C, that is copy command. Once you do that, just type in on any terminal, just type in npx space kill port space 5000. This will kill all the processes on port 5000. And once you do that, now things should work properly. So let's get started. And this was our Python program. And just make sure these both are running. You have to do this only during testing. And once we deploy this application, we don't have to do this anymore. So first of all, to send media as a reply, you'll have to assign response.message to a variable. So let's use MSG as the variable, and I'll just minimize the terminal. And minimizing does not actually terminate the processes, it'll just minimize the terminal. And after that, just type in MSG dot media brackets quotation marks. In this quotation marks, you'll have to type in the URL of the media. So I'll just get a random image from Unsplash. So source.unsplash.com/random. This will generate a random image. So I'll just copy image location. If you're using Chrome, then it'll be copy image link. Just click on it. And in this media, I'll just paste this. Okay. And save it. Now let's test it. Open your WhatsApp and let me just send hey. And as you can see, there is a post request and we have got media as a reply. Now you can do this with any media. You can send videos, you can send PDFs. Just you'll have to paste the link of the media in these quotation marks. Like if at all you want to send your own media, like if at all you want to send your photo or any photo that you have taken, you can use any hosting services. For example, you can host it in Google Drive and then copy that link and paste it here. Now I'll just show this with PDF as well so that it will be clear. So I'll just type in sample PDF and as you can see this is the file and let's copy and paste it in these quotation marks. And then save it. And the server is restarted, so we are free to test. So I'll just send hello. And as you can see, we got sample.pdf as a response. So it's quite simple. Now, if at all you want to send multiple messages, you can also do that. Just type in msg1 equals response.message. Let's send good morning. And they are restarted. And I'll just send hey. So as you can see, we've got good morning and the PDF file. So this is how to send multiple messages and also how to send media as a reply. Now we'll learn how to actually get text and number of the person who has sent a WhatsApp message. So back to PyCharm, getting text and WhatsApp number is actually quite easy. All you have to do is just declare a variable, let's say text equals request. We'll use request dot form dot get. So we'll get the message from the body attribute and number will be in the from attribute. So number equals request dot form dot get of from. So this attribute will give us number and body attribute will give us the message body, that is the text that they have sent. Now let's use this text and number in a reply. So let me just remove this because it's not really relevant now. To use variables in a response, you need to type F and it goes before these quotation marks and it enables us to use variables inside these quotation marks. And this was introduced after Python 3.6. So if you're running a version of Python before 3.6, then you'll have to implement this differently by using plus and then the name of the variable. But now it's actually quite simple. If at all you want to use variable inside these quotation marks, you can just type in F and then use variables inside brackets, that is text, something like that. So let's respond with a message which includes the text. Let's reply with thanks for contacting me. You have sent, let's put this in quotation marks, text from number. If a person sends hi from let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he'll get a response which says thanks for contacting me. You have sent hi from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so, or something like that. Okay, so let's save it and test it. So yeah, this is my WhatsApp. Now let's test. I'll send good morning. So as you can see, thanks for contacting me. You have sent good morning in quotation marks from this WhatsApp. I have truncated the last 2 digits of my number just to be private. You can try and guess if you want to. Anyway, as you can see, this number is not exactly just a number. It also includes this WhatsApp colon. So let's just get rid of that. To do that, just type in number equals number dot replace of, we'll replace WhatsApp colon with nothing. Okay, now it will just show us the WhatsApp number. Let's go ahead and save it. And the server is restarted. Now let's test it. Let's say yo. As you can see, thanks for contacting me. You have sent yo from just the number. So this is how you can get the person's WhatsApp number and the message. Now I'll show you something called conditional response. And that is, as I've told you before, is one of the most important things. Conditional statements are nothing but if and else statements. So if the person has sent this message, then respond with this. If the person has sent that message, then respond with something else. So that is what conditional messaging is. And actually, just a fun fact, conditionals are actually one of the fundamental building blocks of artificial intelligence, like Google Assistant or Amazon's Alexa. All of these things are programmed in this way. But there is a lot of other things involved, like probability and statistics. But the core is just this thing, if and else statements. So anyway, let's get started. I'll just remove this response because it's not really useful. So what I'll do is, if text equals hi, then respond with response.message, let's say hello. And otherwise, respond with I don't know what to say. And then I'll just save it. And the server has restarted. Now let's just test it. Now let me just send good morning. It doesn't know what to say. Let's just send hi. It will send hello. Okay, now let's send 0. It will send I don't know what to say. So this is conditional messaging. And if you know Python language, you can also do more things. For example, if hi in text, then respond with hello. So what this means is, if hi, a substring, is present in the text, then respond with hello. So let's just save this. And the server has restarted. Now let me just test this again. Now I'll just send hi Twilio bot. It will send hello. Now even if I send hi robot, it will respond with hello. And even if I send hi something else, it will respond with hello. So if hi is present in any text, it will respond with hello. And if I just type in something else, let's say good, it will respond with I don't know what to say. So this is conditional response. And we'll be using this a lot in future videos. So just make yourself familiar with the syntax. So I'll see you in the next video where we actually start building our project. Alright, in this section we'll actually start building our project, and the project that we will be building is for a company called the Red Velvet. And this company primarily, as you might have assumed, focuses on selling cakes, and we'll try to automate every part of their customer service. So the person should be able to know information and also order cakes. And in this video I'll just give you an overview of the bot, like how it should work. And after that, we'll discuss how to proceed with our application. Okay, so as you can see, this is the automation bot, and let's just test it. And I'll start by sending hi. And as you can see, this replies with this welcome message. Hi, thanks for contacting the Red Velvet. You can choose from one of the options below. So type 1 to contact us, 2 to order snacks, 3 to know our working hours, and 4 to get our address. So let's just start by typing in 1. So now as you can see, you can contact us through phone or email, and phone is this one. This is an arbitrary phone number, and email is contact@theredvelvet.io. So this is the first option. Now second option is a bit nested, so there are a lot of options inside that. So we'll come to the second option later. So first we'll do 3 and 4. So let's just type 3. We work every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And finally, let's just hit 4 and hit enter. So we have multiple stores across the city. Our main center is at 454 New Delhi. Now let's get to the main part, which is to order snacks. So let's just hit 2 and hit enter. And as you can see, you have entered ordering mode. You can select one of the following cakes to order. Type 1 for red velvet, type 2 for dark forest, ice cream cake, plum cake, sponge cake, genoise, carrot cake, and butterscotch. And you can also type 0 to go back. So let's just test that, and I'll hit 0 and hit enter. And as you can see, this works. So let's just go back to ordering mode. So I'll just type 2. So let's just order an ice cream cake, which is my personal favorite. So I'll just type in 3 and hit enter. So this responds with excellent choice. Please enter your address to confirm the order. So let me just enter the address. Let's say something like James Street, New Delhi, and hit enter. And as you can see, your order for ice cream cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. And thanks for shopping with us. So this is essentially the entire bot. But along with this, a lot of validation, and we are actually storing state. So we actually know what the person has entered. We are actually storing messages. We are storing where the person actually is. Like, is he in ordering mode? Is he has he ordered something and not entered the address? And all these things will reflect in our database. I'll show that in just a few minutes. Now, again, if at all he wants to order again, let me just type in hi or something like that. And he'll get this message again. Now let's just type something which is not one of these 4 options. So let's say I say something like this, and this will validate as well. So it responds with please enter a valid response. So as it is not one of these 4 options, it will respond with a validation error. So all these things are also taken care of. So we'll do all these things step by step, explaining things, error validation, and all these things. Now let me just show you the database. So this is our database. I'll show you how to configure this later, but now let me just click on collections. And this will basically fetch our database. So the database that I have created is named bakery, and in every database in MongoDB we'll have something called collections. So we'll be maintaining 2 collections. The first one is the users and the second one is orders. Okay. So users is basically where we actually store the person's number and status and messages and also item. If at all the person is ordering the item and has not finished ordering, so we can see that item here. And messages is basically the list of messages the person has sent to us, and number will be the person's number. So if at all I click on messages, and every message is an object, that is, it will have number 1 the text the person has sent and the date the person has sent that text. So we'll have these 2. So he has sent 7 messages in total, and every message is also logged, so that we can just keep track of what the person has sent, and we can respond according to that. As you can see, the collection size is extremely small, and I don't think you can actually exceed the limit of free tier as well. So that is basically how this bot works. Okay, now let me just show you how to actually proceed with building the bot. Okay, so there are mainly 4 messages which actually receive input. The first one is the welcome message, which will receive these 4 things. And out of these 4 things, 1, 3 and 4 are just direct. And now these ones will not receive any input. The main page is the one which will actually receive input 1, 2, 3, 4. Now after main page, another one is the ordering page, that is to order snacks. So ordering page is another page which actually receives input, which is the type of cake. Okay. In this case, we have ordered an ice cream cake. And after that, finally, address page will also receive input. So we have mainly three pages to work on. The first one is the main page or the welcome page, and the second one is the ordering page, and the third one is the address page. So we'll start with main page and then go to ordering page, and finally we'll come to address page. So that is how we'll be proceeding. And if you didn't understand this very clearly, it's completely fine, and you'll get it as we proceed. And in the next videos, we'll configure our database like this and start working on our bot. And I'll see you there. Alright, in this short video, I'll show you how to configure MongoDB for our project. In the very beginning videos, I have shown you how to create a cluster in MongoDB. And if you have skipped those videos, just make sure to go there and sign up with MongoDB. And then I have also shown you how to create a cluster, and just follow that and then come back to this video. Now what you have to do is just click on collections, and then if you haven't created a collection, then you'll get this page, and I have also not created one, so just click on add my own data. So once you click on that, you'll get these two things. The first one is the database name, and the second one is the collection name. So as I have shown you in the previous video, the database name that I will be using is called bakery. You can name it whatever you want, but I'll be using bakery. And coming to collection name, we'll be using two collections. The first one is for users and the second one is for orders. So initially, let's just type in users and then we'll add orders manually. Okay, just click on create, and that will take some 2 minutes. And after this is done, just click on plus symbol next to bakery, and then you'll get this pop-up. And in this pop-up, we'll just type in orders. Okay, and then click on create, and that will create a collection called orders. Okay, just click on create, and that will take around 20 seconds. And now the database is configured. So that was pretty much the configuration of database. Now let's go back to clusters. Okay, so once you get back to clusters, to connect with our database, we'll have to click connect. Okay, now click on connect, and you'll get this pop-up where you'll have to first set up connection security. Now if you want, you can just click on add current IP address. For now, I'll just allow access from anywhere and click on add IP address. And after that, you'll have to create a database user, which will be the person who will have read and write access. So now I'll just type in JAI and also password as JAI, and also create the database user. Okay, you can change this password whenever you want. And after this, you can just click on close and close the window, and we'll be connecting the database in the next videos. Okay, so I'll see you there. Alright, so now we'll actually start building our final bot. Now I'll be doing the development of the bot in the same main.py file, because I think there will be a nice flow of understanding for you if I continue it on this file. But if at all you want to save these files for reference, you can do so. Otherwise, I have provided them in this course, so you can download them. So we'll be continuing on this file. So first of all, we'll connect to our database, MongoDB. So to do that, we'll have to import PyMongo, which we have downloaded earlier in the starting videos. So if you haven't watched them, then just go ahead and watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, then you just have to install PyMongo module. And after that, we'll have to import it. So from PyMongo, import Mongo client. Okay, this is the thing which connects our Python file with the MongoDB's database. So to connect to our cluster, first go to mongodb.com, and we need to get the URL. So just click on connect. In the previous video, we have configured the setup connection security. So now we'll have to connect it. So just click on connect your application, and then copy this code, and then close this. And now let's go back to PyCharm. And now what we have to do is, first we'll have to initialize cluster equals Mongo client of quotation marks, Then paste the code which you have copied, so Control V, and in the password section, just replace this by your password. My password was JAI, so I'll just replace it with JAI. Now after this, we'll have to initialize our database. So just type in db equals cluster of, in these quotation marks, you'll have to type in your database name. So a cluster has different databases, so we'll have to select which database. And as you can see, we have named our database bakery. So we'll just type in bakery. Now we'll have to initialize users equals database of users, because that is the name that we have given. And finally, orders equals database of orders. So this will basically initialize users and orders, which is quite simple. So with that, our database would be connected. Now we have to code the main part. Now before we actually do that, I'll just show you a flowchart which will kind of make things easy to visualize. So as you can see, this is that chart. So the very first time the person sends a message, we'll have to output this message. Okay. Hi, thanks for contacting the Red Velvet. You can choose from one of these options below. So this message should be replied for the very first time the user logs in. Now, how to actually check whether a user is logged in or not? For that, we'll use some functions. Okay. Now, what are they? You might ask. So they are quite simple functions. You don't have to know anything to actually write this. So what you have to do is, first of all, type in user equals users dot find one. Okay, find one, and curly braces, and then quotation marks, number, this number. Okay, so what this means is, this method will try to find a user whose number is equal to the number who has sent us a WhatsApp message. Now, if this user exists, then he must be an existing customer, else we'll have to send this message. Okay, so we'll have to send this message only to a new user. Okay, so how to actually check if this user exists or not? For that, we'll be using the bool function. Now this I have already covered in that article, so if you haven't read that, I highly recommend you to do that first, because it contains everything which is necessary for this course. Okay, and if you don't want to do that, then you can just type in if bool of user. This evaluates to true or false. That is, if the user exists, then it will output true, and if he doesn't, then it will output false. Okay. Now let's get rid of this code because we won't be needing that at all. If bool user equals false, then we'll have to send this message. Okay. Now how to actually do that? In the same way as we have been doing in the previous videos, response.message of, and in these quotation marks, we'll have to fill the message. Now I'll just copy and paste the message because I don't want to waste your time. So I'll just paste it. Now you can get this in the file, so just copy that and paste it. And there might be some things which might interest you. For example, this star and star means the inner text will be in bold in the response, and backslash n indicates a new line, and double backslash n means two new lines. So that is pretty much it, which you might have to know. And these are basically the emojis, and if you are on Windows, you can get access to emojis by typing Windows plus dot, and it will bring up the emoji keyboard, and you can just type in one and then click on one to actually get an emoji. So that is how to get an emoji. So these are some things which might be new to you. So let's rename response to res because we'll be using this often. So it'll be better if we use the shortened version of it. Okay, now after sending this message, as the user is new, we'll have to add user into our database. Now how do we actually do that? It's simple. Just type in users dot insert one and then curly braces. So we'll be storing three things. One is WhatsApp number of that person, and second is the status, like where he is, and status and messages list. Okay, so these are the three things that we will store. So just type in quotation marks, number will be equal to number, and then comma, status will be equal to main because he is on the main page. And finally, messages will be equal to an empty array. Now this is a symbol for empty array. Array is list of things. In this case, it is list of messages. Okay. And finally, we'll do the else part. Now in the else part, we'll just respond with I don't know what to say. Okay. And finally, in any case, we'll have to add the user's message into our database. So to do that, just type in users dot update one. So we'll filter using the number. So just type in quotation marks number equals number. Now we'll have to add the text into the messages array. So to do that, just type in quotation marks $ push. This basically pushes anything into an array. So push colon curly braces. We'll have to update the messages. So just type in messages. We'll have to update this array. So we'll have to push the text of the message and the date when it was sent. So we'll store the text of the message and also the date, like when it was sent. So initially text equals text and date will be equal to date time dot now. Okay, and I just realized we did not import this library, so let's import it and give a line gap and type in from date time import date time. So this is a default library, so you don't have to install any package. After this, this should not show any errors. Okay, so let us test this. So just open up terminal, and I think I've already told you in the first terminal, just type in nodemon main.py and just split it. And in the second terminal, just type in nodemon -- watch. We have done this in the previous video. Nodemon -- watch main.py. So this will watch main.py for changes and --exec space lt -- subdomain. Your name, anything. I'll type my name and port will be 5000. And we'll have a delay of 2 seconds. Even 1 second should work just fine, but I'm just doing 2 seconds to avoid any problems. So now let's open up WhatsApp. So let me just send hi. So as you can see, there is a post request and we have got our welcome message. Now let's just check with our database whether the user is registered or not. So I'll just refresh this. And as you can see, the user is registered. Okay, and if I click on messages, there is a single object and the text with hi, and there's the date. So our bot is working as intended. Now let's just type in something else. Now as the user is already registered, now it has to reply with I don't know what to say. So let's just test that, and I'll send hello again. And as you can see, it responds with I don't know what to say. And either way, the messages array should be updated. So to check that, I'll just refresh this. And as you can see, the messages array has been updated and we have a new object which says hello. So our first page is working pretty well. Now we'll have to program it to take inputs and respond accordingly. So let's get to it. So now we have to program our bot to reply with these messages whenever the user sends 1, 2, 3, 4. And if he doesn't send 1, 2, 3, 4, it has to respond with please enter a valid response. Okay, so we'll have to perform that validation and we have to respond with the correct details if the input is valid. Okay, now another thing, now we'll have to respond with these messages only when the status is main. Like if the message that they received was this, then we don't have to respond with these messages. I think you'll clearly understand it as we go through. So like basically what I'm trying to say is we'll have to send email only for this particular page. Now, how do we know the state of the user? Like he's in the main page or he's ordering. Now we'll know that using the status option that we will have in our database. So this is the option which will help us decide. Okay. So if the status is main, then respond with one of these messages. And if the status is ordering, then respond with another message. Okay. So if I type 1 in the status page, then you'll have to show me my email. And if I type 1 in the ordering page, then we'll have to start an order for the red velvet cake. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to say. So that is why we are using the status key in our database. Now let's go back to PyCharm. So the code will be in the else part. So I'll just remove this. And also we'll have to reply only if the status is main. All right. If the status is ordering, then we'll have to reply with a different thing. So it will be only for LF. LF is short for else if. So just type in user status is equal to main. Only then we'll have to respond with one of these messages. Otherwise, if the status is ordering, we'll have to place an order rather than showing email. Okay, so let's go back. So first we'll have to check if the response is numeric. Okay, so if the response is a string like hello or hi, we have to send a validation message because we want them to enter only one of these four things, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So if they enter other than 1, 2, 3, 4, then we'll just send a validation error. Okay, so how do we do that? So first of all, I hope you have gone through that blog article in which I have shown you error handling in Python. So if you haven't, please go and check that out. And this is how it's done. We'll be using the try and except block. So try is basically this tries to execute a piece of code. And what is that? It will try to convert the text into an integer and stores it in a variable called option. Okay. And if it is unable to convert, then that means that option is not an integer. Okay. Option cannot be converted into an integer. That is because it is not a numeric string. And in the except block, we'll be typing res dot message, and in the message we'll send please enter a valid response, and then we'll just return from the function because we don't want to proceed any further. Okay, so we'll just return the stringified value of response as we have been doing forever. Okay, now after this we'll have to check if the option is 1. So if option is equal to 1, then we'll have to respond with our contact information. So just type in res.message. I'll just paste the message which I have already typed in, just not to waste your time. So yeah, this is that message. You can contact us through phone or email. This is our phone and this is our email. So these are some arbitrary invalid details. And if you want, you can modify the message. And let's do the same for options 2, 3, and 4. So just type in lf option equals to, we'll have to send two messages. Now, what are those messages? So these are those messages. The first one is you have entered ordering mode, and also you'll have to send this big message. Now, along with doing these, we'll also have to set the status to ordering. Now, why do we have to do that? This is to help us identify where they are. So, for example, if at all the person hits 1 in main mode, then we'll have to send our contact information to them. And if at all the person enters 1 in ordering mode, then we'll have to place an order for red velvet cake. So this status helps us sort of identify in which mode they are. All right. So that is why we'll have to do that. So we have to do two things. That is, we'll have to send these messages, and also we'll have to update the status to ordering. So let's just do that. Now back to PyCharm. So first we'll have to send those two messages. Now what are those messages? The first one is res.message of you have entered ordering mode. So I have copied and pasted this. You can also copy and paste this from the file. And after this, we'll have to update the status to ordering. Now, how do we do that? Just type in users dot update one, and the first one is, as you can see, it is the filter. Now, how do we filter? As you can see, we'll filter through number. So curly braces, number is number. All right. So this is the way that we filter. Now update. Now what do we update? We update the ordering mode. So how do we update the ordering mode? Just have the curly braces and then quotation marks. And as you can see, this is similar to this. That is pushing the messages. Instead of pushing, we will actually set. Now what are we setting? We are setting the status. So just type in $set. And then once you type in $set, just have colon and then curly braces again. Just the format is just like the below one. And after this, type in quotation marks again. We will type in status and colon. Now we will update the status to ordering. So ordering. That's it. So with this, we will update our status to ordering. All right. Now after this, we'll have to type in this huge message. So I have copied the message from the file. You can also do the same. It'll not waste your time. And then I'll paste it in PyCharm. So res dot message quotation marks, then this entire string. And let me truncate this backspace. Now once we do this, the work for option 2 is done. Now let's work on option 3. What is option 3? Option 3 is to send the working hours. So it is quite simple. So we work every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in bold. All right. So let's do that. So lf option equals 3 colon enter, and we can just copy this entire thing or this string and then we'll modify it. And we work every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now AM and PM are, and generally the correct notation is small, but generally people tend to like the capital notation better for some reason. So we'll also use the capital notation. And to bolden this thing, we will be using asterisks around these 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. So that's it for option 3. And finally, for option 4, LF option equals 4. What do we have to send? Let's have a look at the flowchart. So we'll have to send, we have multiple stores across the city. Our main center is at 454 New Delhi. This can be different for you as well. It really doesn't matter. You can just enter any address. This is also not really a real address, I believe. So yeah, so we will be entering this information. So let's do that. Res.message. We have many centers across the city. Our main center is at 454 New Delhi. And that is pretty much it for all the options. And finally, we'll have to send a validation error if the option is not among 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's do that as well. That will be just simply an else statement, else colon enter, and we'll be sending the same thing. So let me copy this and paste it. And that is pretty much it for our main page. All right. So now let's just test this. So I'll save it. Now I'll open my WhatsApp. So now before we go to the option 2, we'll go to option 3 and 4. All right. Because we will be entering ordering mode and we have not really configured ordering mode page. So we'll first go to 3 and 4 and then we'll come back to 2. All right. So first let's enter 3. So we've got the message, we work every day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And let's enter 4. We have many centers across the city. Our main center is at 454 New Delhi. Perfect. Now finally, let's try 2. Alright, so we've got 2 messages. You have entered ordering mode and you can select one of the cakes to order and all these things. Now before we actually finish, there is a bit of a padding for 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's have a look on what is the problem. So let me remove this space, and in the file I'm pretty sure it will be resolved. So before 6 the space is gone, and for 7 also space is gone, and for 8 also let us get rid of space, and that is pretty much it. So now we won't really face any problem. Before we move on to the next video, let's just check whether or not the status has been set to ordering in our database. Now this is the MongoDB cluster. So just click on Browse Collections and then click on Users. That is where we store the status. So as you can see, the status has been set to ordering. So that is pretty much it for the main page. In the next videos, we will be configuring our ordering page, and we will have different options, and we will also learn how to go back in the state, that is to main, and we will also take address as an input. And finally, we will be able to place the order as well. And in the advanced section, we will also learn how to recur back to the beginning once the order has been completed. All right. So I'll see you there. Bye. Alright, so in this video we'll be dealing with the ordering page. So this is the message to which user gives input. So as you can see, we expect the user to respond anything from 1 to 9, or it can also be 0. And if at all it is any other non-numeric string, then we'll respond with please enter a valid response. And if it is 0, then we'll have to set the status back to main, and we'll have to send this message. So first, let's do these 2 things. One is to handle this validation error, and the second one is to set the status to main. And also we'll have to send this message. And since this is not the first time that they're contacting Red Velvet, they're already in the ordering mode. So we need not actually send this specific thing, that is, hi, thanks for contacting the Red Velvet. We can just start from the second line. So let's do these 2 things. So back to PyCharm. So first of all, we'll have to check if the user is in ordering mode. And how do we do that? We can simply just copy this and change this from main to ordering. And if it is ordering, first of all, we'll have to handle the non-numeric strings. And how do we do that? We have already done this. So we can just copy this specific thing and then paste this. This basically tries to convert our input to a number, and if it is unable to convert to a number, then the user might have entered something which is not a number. In that case, it will respond with a validation error. So this is basically done. Now we'll have to handle the 0 part, that is going back and setting status to main. So first we'll have to set the status to main, and also we'll have to send this message. So we'll have to do these 2 things. So if option equals 0, in that case, first of all, we'll have to set the status back to main. And the way of doing this is just to copy this. So this sets the status to ordering. Now we'll just have to set it to main. So just change this particular thing to main. And we have set the status to main. And now we'll have to respond with this specific message. So let's do that. So this is that message. So let us copy this and paste it here. And we need not require this first statement since this is not the first time that they're contacting. So we'll just get rid of this. And now the option 0 is done. All right, so now let us test this. Okay, so we have only coded for non-numeric and 0. So first we will try for non-numeric. So let's say hi. Okay. Please enter a valid response, which is correct. And now let us test for 0. So we've got this message. So things are going in the right direction. Now let us see for what happens from 1 to 9. So if it is 1 to 9, first of all, we'll have to set the status to address, because if we want them to enter the address, then we'll have to create a separate page, change the status. Okay. Now, and another thing is that we'll have to map each cake to a number, because, for example, if they type in 1, then we'll have to know that it's red velvet, right? So we'll have to maintain a list which maps each number to a cake, and that list is known as array, and in Python it is actually called list. So let us create a list of cakes. So first of all, we'll only have to do this if the option is between 1 and 9. So elif 1 less than or equal to option less than or equal to 9. So in that case, we'll have to define a list. So let's call it cakes equals. The first one will be the red velvet cake. So red velvet cake. And then the next ones you can just copy and paste. So the second one will be dark forest. And the third one will be something else. So I'll just copy and paste and make this a list and then come back. So I am done with the list. So first of all, let's get what they have selected. To do that, just type in selected equals cakes of option -1. So the reason that we're doing this is because in programming languages, the counting starts from 0. So for us, the red velvet cake is the first one, but in programming languages, or in this language, in Python, the counting starts from 0. So if the user enters 1, then in the list it is actually the 0th element. So that is why we just subtract 1. So now we know what the user has selected. Now we'll have to store this thing in our database. And along with that, we'll also have to change the status to address, as well as send these two messages. And once we do this, the ordering page is done, right? So let's do these two things. So now let us update the status to address. So let us copy this and now just change the status to address. Now along with this, we'll also have to set the item, right? The item that they're ordering. So let us set the item to the selected one. So whatever they have selected, we'll have to set it as the item, right? So, and finally, we'll have to send two messages. And what are those two messages? The first one is excellent choice. And the second one is please enter your address to confirm the order. So let's do that. So res.message, excellent choice. And along with that, we'll just send an emoji. So to do that, in Windows, it is Windows plus dot. In Linux also, it is Windows plus dot. And if at all you're using Mac, it is super plus dot. So Windows plus dot, we get this pop-up and click on this emoji. And the second one is res.message. Please enter your address to confirm the order. So once we do this, the ordering page is done. All right. And finally, we also have to handle the other case. That is if the response is numeric, but it is not anything from 1 to 9. So if it is something like 10 or something, we'll just have to send a validation response for that. So just else condition, the same thing. Please enter a valid response. Now with this, our ordering page is done. And also make sure that your terminal is running, right? So here everything is running as expected. So let me just switch to WhatsApp. So this is my WhatsApp. Okay, so now let us enter something which is not from 1 to 9. So something like 23, say. So we get a validation error, which is as expected. Now let's enter something from 1 to 9. So let's say I enter 1. So excellent choice. Please enter your address to confirm the order. So with this, our ordering page is complete. Now let's just check in the database if the status has been changed to address, and also let's just check if the item is set to the red velvet cake. So let's just open up Chrome. All right, so this is our database. So let me just refresh so that we can see our changes. So as you can see, the status has been changed to address, as well as the item has been set to the red velvet cake. So with this, our ordering page is complete. And in the next videos, we'll be configuring our address page. And finally, we will see how to make this program accept multiple orders once a specific order has been completed. All right, so I'll see you there. Bye. All right, so in this video, we'll be configuring the address page. So one thing is that for address page, we don't really need any validation. So address can be anything, right? It can be letters, numbers, and even special characters like slash, dash, or even comma. So it can be anything. So we don't really need to validate like the previous pages, like orders or the main page. And the second thing is we'll have to send these two messages, and depending on your use case, it can be different things. But we'll be sending these two messages. One is thanks for shopping with us, and the second one is like whatever the cake that they've ordered, we'll just type in that cake's name. So your order for the dark forest cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. And finally, we will add this specific order to orders. Like, what does that exactly mean? Is that let me just go to MongoDB to demonstrate this. So as you can see, this is our database. Now, initially, we have created two things. One is users as well as orders. So for people who deliver, they don't really need to see like which page the user is in or what messages he has sent. They just need to see what are the orders that I have to deliver and when I have to deliver and where I have to deliver, right? So just when, where, and what is required for them, right? So that is what we will be inserting in the orders page. So this is mainly for a quick overview of what things are pending, right? What orders are pending. And once the order is delivered, we can just delete it or we can also automate it, right? So the main thing is to mainly insert it. So in this case, whenever user enters their address, it basically means that they are confirming the order, and we will simply insert the orders into this specific database, right? So once we insert that into this specific database, people who deliver, they can just see that this is what I have to deliver, and this is where I have to deliver, and this is the time that they have placed the order. So let's program this. So this is PyCharm. So first of all, we'll have to check if the page is address. So lf user of status equals address, right? So since we are configuring the address page, we'll have to check if the status is address. And if the status is address, first of all, we'll have to get what the user has actually ordered. So selected equals user of item. So this we have stored in the previous page. That is, as we can see, we have updated and set the item to be the selected one. So, so we can retrieve the selected cake in this case and just store it in a variable called selected. Now we'll have to send two messages. The first one is thanks for shopping with us. And the second message is your order for the red velvet cake or the cake's name. The cake's name can be retrieved using this selected variable, and we will be using the f strings to use variables inside strings. So just have curly braces and then type in selected, right? So now we can actually access whatever cake they have inside the string. So your order for this specific cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour, right? So once we do this, the main things are done. And finally, we'll have to insert this specific order into the orders collection. And we have already stored this orders collection in a variable, right? So we'll just use this variable and then insert it into that. So how shall we do that? Just type in orders dot insert one, and then the code will be very similar to the first one. So that is this one. So users dot insert one, number equals number, status equals this, and messages equals that. Instead of that, we will be using mainly number will be the same. We will have to store the number probably to contact the person. And the second one will be the item that they have selected. So in this case, we can access the item using the selected variable. And the third one is the address. Address will be the text that they have sent. And the fourth one will be the time, right? So the order time. So order time will be, we can retrieve the time by using date time, right? So date time dot now. So this will give us the time where they have actually placed the order. So with this, the address page is finished. So let us test it. So this is my WhatsApp. So let us type in some random address. So I'll just type in 454 New Delhi, the same address as the bakery. So I'll just hit enter. And thanks for shopping with us. Your order for red velvet cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. Now let us check the database whether or not this particular order has been registered. So let me go to MongoDB and let us refresh. So as you can see, the order has been received, the item is received, we have the address as well as the order time. So we have pretty much everything that is needed to deliver our cake, right? So with this, our main flow has been completed, right? So this entire main page has been completed, ordering page has been completed, and the address page is also completed. So with this, the main project has been completed. But there is a little bit which is left. That is, once they have finished their order, they should be able to place multiple orders, right? So we'll be doing that in the next video, right? So I'll see you there. Bye. All right. So in this video, we'll see how to sort of enable multiple orders support. Now, what does that exactly mean? It basically means that like once the person has finished ordering, we should be able to enable them to place multiple orders, right? So basically what we do in this case is simply once the order is finished, we'll just redirect them back to the main page. So redirecting them to main page is actually quite simple, and we have already done it in the ordering page, that is the go back function. So we can also do this for the ordered page. But we'll have to add another thing whenever the person enters his address. So this is mainly to identify which people have already ordered, right? So basically, once the person enters the address, we will just change their status to ordered so that it will be easy for us to identify if the person has already ordered from us, right? So let's do that first, and then we will sort of redirect them to main page. Okay, yeah. So let's go back to PyCharm. So now in the address page, we will change their status to ordered, like once they have finished ordering, right? So how do we do that? So we can just copy this and paste it here and just set the status to ordered. So that is the first thing. And the second thing is to redirect them back to the main page. To do that, just simply we'll be sending this message, and also we will be setting the status to main. Once we do these two things, our work will be completely done and the user will be able to place multiple orders. So let's just do these two things. So we do this only if the status of the user is ordered, right? So lf user status equals ordered. In that case, simply what do? We send the first message. The first message can be found here. So just copy this and then paste it here. And so we can just change this to from the red velvet to again. That will sort of specify that they have already contacted us. And the second thing, as I've said, is to change the status to main, right? So let's copy this and then paste it here and change the status to main. So with this, we will be able to place multiple orders. So let me save it first. Now let us test it. So now let us enter hi again. Yeah, so hi, thanks for contacting again. You can choose from one of the options below. Now, one thing is that you may get thanks for shopping with us again, because previously we did not update our status, right? So we just inserted the orders. So we did not update the status. So you may get the same message again. So if you did get the same message again, then hit hi again, then you'll get this page. And also don't forget to save. All right. Now let us order something else. So let's go to two. And now let's test going back. Yeah, so now let's order snacks. And now let's choose something else, right? So I'll choose ice cream cake. And my address, I'll just enter New Delhi. Thanks for shopping with us. It'll be delivered within an hour. Now let me just enter hi again, right? After 2 days, I want to order again. So we get the same message. So if I want to contact them, I'll get their contact information. So if I want to know their working hours, I'll get their working hours, address. I'll get their address and let me order snacks again. Now let's order carrot cake. And this time I'll just type in Netherlands. Yeah, so whatever the location is, it will be delivered within an hour. So with this, our project has come to an end. I hope you have learned all the things that I've explained. And I'll see you in the next video where we will actually deploy this. Right. Bye. All right, so this is the final video of our project. And in this video, we will be deploying our application to the cloud. And once we deploy, you need not run the Node-RED script or even keep the system alive for the automation bot to work. And we can just rely on the cloud or the hosting provider, which in this case is Heroku, for us to host and run the application on the cloud. And we'll just hook Heroku to Twilio. And once we do that, everything will be online and we need not rely on our resources for the bot to function. And for this, you will need two accounts. The first one is GitHub, that is github.com. And the second one is Heroku. And just click on sign up. You'll have to sign up for both the accounts. And then just fill out all these information. And primary development language, you can choose Python. And for GitHub as well, just click on sign up and then you'll be welcomed with some fancy sign up interface and then just fill out all the information and you'll be good to go. And I'll not be going step by step on this because it is very trivial. And once you sign up, you should get this page in GitHub and this page on Heroku. So first let us configure GitHub and then we'll go to Heroku. So first click on create repository. Repository, you can think of it as a folder on the web. So that is what we are basically creating. So the repository name, so I'll just name it automate WhatsApp and let us leave it public and then I'll just click on create repository. So now the repository is set up. Now first let us create a new file, right? So we'll be adding files to this folder on the web and we can do this using terminals as well. As you can see, that is what they are referring to. And if you have no idea about Git, then this won't really make sense to you. So I will be proceeding by using the web interface itself. So let us start by creating a new file. So the first file that we'll be creating is called app. So this is mainly the contents of main.py, but we will be naming it app.py. So let us copy all the contents of main.py. So just go to PyCharm. Now I'll just select all and then copy, and then I'll move this to the browser. So I'll just paste it. Now we need to modify a few things. The first one is the port information. Heroku automatically assigns port to us, so manually intervening in that matter might cause some problems. So we'll just leave it with app.run. And the second thing is the SSL certificate requirements. This is only required for local server if it is not functioning. So it has problems with our system rather than the server. And once you do this, you can also remove this importing SSL thing. So once you do this, you're pretty much good to go. Now just scroll down and then click on commit new file. Now we will add another file. So totally we'll be adding 3 files into this folder. So this is the first one and the main one. And the second and the third files are completely related to the deployment, right? So just click on add file and then create new file. So the second file that we'll be creating is called requirements.txt. So this kind of specifies all the packages that are required for us to deploy this application. And we have already installed these packages in the beginning locally. Now we will actually specify what packages are needed while deploying. So before the deployment script is run, it will install all these packages and then it will sort of deploy. And this requirements.txt is sort of common for all Python projects, but we didn't use it because we were not really using a virtual environment. So in this requirements, we will need the first one is Flask, and the second one is Twilio. So this you might have already known. So the third one is PyMongo, and the fourth one is DNS Python, and the last one is something called gunicorn. So this package is used by Heroku for deploying Flask applications. So that is why we'll be installing this package as well. So once you're done with this, just scroll down and then just click on commit new file and commit directly to the main branch. This will be default. So just click on commit new file. And once you're done, we'll have to add the third file, which is called proc file. So just click on add file and then create new, and then type in proc file. So this proc file is very specific to Heroku. The previous one, requirements.txt, was not a specific thing. It is pretty much used for all Python projects for deployment as well as locally as well. But this file is very specific to Heroku. So this sort of specifies what type of application we are running and what command to run in the beginning of the deployment. Okay, so first of all, we need to specify the application type. The application type is web. So because we are deploying a web server, the application type would be web, followed by a colon, right? And space, the command to run. The command to run is gunicorn, which is used by Heroku to deploy Flask applications. And the second thing is which file to run. The file name is app.py. So we'll specify it by using app colon app space. We need logs. So we'll just type in the flag dash dash log dash file equals dash. So make sure you enter this properly, otherwise the Heroku server will crash. So just make sure to enter this as it is. Now once this is done, just scroll down and then click on commit new file, right? And with this, all the files that we need are created. So now our task with GitHub is done. Now let us configure Heroku. So just go to Heroku. Now first of all, you'll have to create new app. So just click on create new app. And you'll have to give an app name. So I'll just use automate WhatsApp. Okay, so this is not available. So I'll just use automate WhatsApp 1. Hopefully this is, yeah, so this is available. So I'll just click on create app. So this app is created. Now we'll have to just click on connect to GitHub. So this will basically connect our repository to Heroku. Now click on connect to GitHub and then authorize Heroku. So with this, our GitHub account is connected to Heroku. Now we'll have to fill out the repo name. Now the repo name is Automate WhatsApp. So let us search. So we've got this one. So just click on connect. So after this, you can just click on enable automatic deploys. Now what this does is basically whenever we change any files on GitHub, those changes will be reflected even here. So the entire server will be redeployed once we make any changes on GitHub. So after this, just click on deploy branch and this will deploy our files on GitHub to Heroku's server. So as you can see, you can monitor the progress here. So this will basically install Python as well as PIP and all the packages that are required. So Twilio, PyMongo, GUnicorn, Flask, and DNS So this shouldn't take very long since this is a small project. So as you can see, our app was successfully deployed. Now you can just, now let us look at the logs, that is the server logs. To do that, just scroll up and then click on more and then click on view logs, right? So this is helpful for us to monitor the server time to time. And as you can see, the starting process was done using this command and the build was succeeded and the state of the server changed from starting to up. So our server should be working now, right? And our server is available at the same thing, automate WhatsApp 1 dot herokuapp.com. So we can just enter the same in Twilio, right? So let us go to Twilio and then you can go to WhatsApp sandbox settings. It can be found in messaging, inside settings, inside WhatsApp sandbox settings, and then change this to automate WhatsApp 1. There should be HTTPS at first, right? And after that, WhatsApp 1 dot herokuapp.com, right? And once you do this, make sure to save this, right? And once you do that, now let us test the same in our WhatsApp. So let me open my WhatsApp. So the last message was to place an order for carrot cake. Now we'll have to recur back to the beginning. So let me first join the sandbox by join each is. Now we are all set. Now let me just send hi. So now we'll have to get the welcome message. Yeah. So hi, thanks for contacting again. You can choose from one of the options below. And also notice the response time, which is actually pretty fast. Now let me just look at the logs. There has to be post requests, right? So as you can see, there are post requests. Let us test that connectivity with the database. So let me send some more messages. Now let us say 1. This is working. Let's say 3. Working pretty quickly. 4. This is also good. And now let us order snacks. Yeah, so we've got these 2 messages. Now let us check if at all the ordering mode is reflected in our database. So this is the database. So let me just refresh. As you can see, the status has been changed to ordering. Now let me go back to WhatsApp. Let us order a red velvet cake. Yeah, please enter your address to confirm the orders. So let me just type in some random address. So let's say Chennai. Thanks for shopping with us. Your order for red velvet cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. So this is working. Now let us look at the orders page. Now before actually going to the orders page, let us check if at all the status has been set to ordered and the item should be set to red velvet cake, right? Yeah, red velvet cake. So let me just refresh. So yeah, status is changed to ordered and the item has been changed to red velvet cake. Now let us look at orders. There should be a new order for red velvet cake with address as Chennai. So yeah, as you can see, there is an order for red velvet cake with address as Chennai. Alright, so everything works as expected. And now you need not run any NodeMon scripts or even keep your PC alive for the bot to work. You can just rely on the cloud. And one thing to note is that these Heroku apps start sleeping after 30 minutes of inactivity. Basically, if you don't really send a message to the bot every 30 minutes, they start sleeping. Now, what exactly sleeping means is that if the bot is up and running, then in that case, you'll receive a reply in milliseconds time. And if it is sleeping, if the server is sleeping, then you'll receive a reply in seconds, right? And 1 second is what I have observed. So it's not really that much. And also, this is only restricted for free plans. And for paid plans, I'm pretty sure like the server will be up all the time. And that's it. With this, our project comes to an end. And I hope this was helpful and you have learned something. And I'll see you next time. Bye. All right. In these short series of videos, I'll be showing you how to use your own number for WhatsApp. There are a few ways of doing this. One way is to buy a number on Twilio. You can just go to twilio.com and you'll find a phone numbers section where there will be many step-by-step instructions that you can follow to buy a Twilio number. The problem with this is that you cannot use that number to call or message someone manually. That is, it is completely controlled by Twilio and you can just interact with the Twilio's interface. And another thing is that it is a paid service. So I'll not be showing you that. And also it is very easy. So it's not really, there's not really much to show. Now I'll be showing you the other way. Now this requires an Android phone. In case you don't have one, you can either buy one, which isn't really always a solution. So instead of that, you can just use an Android emulator like this one. And this is called Nox Player. And this is available both for Windows and Mac. And in case you're using Linux, you can download an app called Genymotion, which is kind of the only option for Linux, but it is really good. Now, coming to which apps to download, there are a few. One is called What's Auto. Let me just show you that. Yeah, so this is What's Auto. And the second thing is called, I think, yeah, this one, Autoresponder for WhatsApp. Now, both of these have the feature of server redirection in their premium version. So you'll have to pay for that. So that is why what I did was I had taken an open source app called Watomatic and sort of modified it to add the server URL feature. Let me just show you what is that app. So this is the app that I was talking about. It is called Watomatic and it is completely open source. So its code is available online. So I just took the code and modified it and added the server URL feature, which we have used for our bot until now. And I'll be demoing using this so that all the people can follow without making any purchase. And in case you want something a little more robust, then later on you can purchase the premium version of this autoresponder or the What's Auto. Now let me just demo this Watomatic app, the modified version of Watomatic app. So as you can see, there is a server URL feature which you won't find it on the Play Store version. And I'll provide you the APK of modified version in the next video. So you can just download it from there. Now let me just demo the bot through interaction of these two devices. So this is my phone and this is the bot. So we'll be sending messages through the emulator to my phone. So let me just send hi from my phone. So we should get the welcome message. So as you can see, we get the welcome message. And now let me just show you the post requests on PyCharm. So as you can see, the sender is J and the message is hi. And as you can see, there's a post request. Now let's say I send hi again, right? So we should get a validation error, right? So let's send hi. So please enter a valid response. So this works. Now let us order snacks. So I'll just enter 2 and hit enter. So this is sent to the WhatsApp. So as you can see, we get this message. Now let's say I want to order a dark forest cake, right? So I'll just hit 2 and hit enter. Now we should get a excellent choice. Yeah. And please enter your address to confirm the order. So our usual address is New Delhi. So I'll just enter New Delhi and hit enter. Now we should get a thanks for shopping with us, and your order for dark forest cake has been received and will be delivered within an hour. Now all of this has to be reflected in the database, otherwise it won't understand the context, right? So if it is understanding like the context, and if you're moving further as pages, then it means that it is registered in the database. So we need not check the database. Now let me just prove it to you that these messages are coming through this particular bot. So let me just open the WhatsApp. So as you can see, Jay has sent hi, and all of these messages are sent by this bot and without me interfering at all. So you will be learning how to do these in the next videos, and I will see you there. So we need to configure the app as well as modify the code a little bit in the next videos. Until then, you can just download an emulator because you'll need 2 phones. And if you have 2 Android phones, then that is great. Otherwise, you will be needing an emulator. So you can just download Nox Player or BlueStacks and install WhatsApp in that. And once you do that, you can just download the Watomatic APK, which will be attached in the next video. And you can just download and install it. And once you install it, you can just follow the next video for instructions on how to set it up, right? And I'll see you there. Bye. All right, in this video, I'll be showing you how to kind of get started with this modified version of Watomatic. So first of all, you'll have to install it. So in my case, all I have to do is just double click it, and Nox will sort of take care of all the things. So it will install it as well as open it after installing. So as you can see, it is automatically opened. So once you do this, you'll just have to turn the auto reply on. So just click on this. Now you'll have to grant the notification access because the way that this works is basically it reads the contents of your WhatsApp message in the notification and then sort of replies it using that, right? So just click on accept, and then this will sort of open up. Now just enable this and then click on allow, and I think you'll be all set. So just go back, permission granted, and after that you are pretty much good to go. And all you have to do with this is just modify the server URL to your server URL, and also we'll have to modify the code in PyCharm a little bit so that it is compatible with Watomatic. And I'll be seeing you in the next video where we'll be doing that. All right, bye. Alright, in this video I'll be showing you the modifications that we need to make on PyCharm or in our code to make it work with Watomatic. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing is we'll have to remove Twilio from it because we will not be using it. So just remove this, and once you remove that, we'll also have to modify this messaging response thing because we won't be using it. So just remove this. And instead of this, we will sort of replace it with an object which contains reply. So just type in this parenthesis, and inside parenthesis, just quotation marks, and then type in reply. We'll just have to put a colon and then quotation marks. So what this means is initially the reply is empty. All right. So this is the first thing that we'll have to do. And after doing this, we'll have to do some additional things. So what we have to do is instead of res.message, we'll have to replace it with res of reply. So let us do that. So the way to do that is simply by replacing all the instances of res.message with res of reply. So to replace all, you can just hit Control R. All right. So this is the search and this is the replace. So we will search for res.message and we will replace it with res of the square brackets, and then in quotation marks we'll just type in reply, right? And then close the quotation marks and brackets, and then after that you just have to type in plus equals, because all the messages that we have to send, we will sort of have to concatenate them and then send it all of them together, because Twilio can send multiple messages, but through Automatic we are sort of restricted to sending only single message. So what we are doing is basically concatenating all the messages and sending them all together. So just type in res of reply, then plus equals, and after this just hit a single quotation mark and then new line. So we'll have to concatenate it with a new line. And the first new line that some people might be worrying about will be sort of truncated by WhatsApp. So that won't be displayed. So don't really worry about that. And then close this. And finally, we will sort of hit plus. That is, after new line, we'll just have to add a plus and then click on replace all. Make sure to enter this properly and hit replace all. And as you can see, this is sort of modified to res of reply plus equals backslash n stands for new line, and plus the usual message. All right. So if we are sending multiple messages like this one, that is you have entered ordering mode, so we will sort of separate them by adding a new line. All right. Once you sort of do all of this, you'll have to do two additional things. One is to sort of remove this, because this is only for the case of Twilio. For Automatic, this is not really a problem. So there won't be a WhatsApp colon in the number attribute. So just delete this. And also text will be in the attribute of message, and number will be in the attribute of sender, right? And another thing is to sort of add this allow invalid certificate one. And in case you don't really get any SSL certificate timeout errors, then you need not do this. But I am getting this error, so I'll just add this. So TLS allow invalid certificates true, and TLS equals true. Right, so once I do this, everything should be good to go. Now let us test this, right? So let us do that. So I'll just click on terminal. Now in the first terminal, just type in nodemon main.py. And in the second terminal, so we'll just click on split right. And in the second terminal, we'll just type in nodemon --watch. And the thing to watch is main.py and --exec lt --subdomain. I'll be using subdomain as WA auto. And after that, we'll have to mention the port, so --port 5000. And finally, close the quotation marks and define delay, so --delay 2 seconds, right? And I'll just hit enter. So now this URL is active. Now, first of all, you have to configure Automatic to use this URL, and I have already configured it. Now let us test this. So I'll just send hi from this bot. So hi. So we should get the welcome message or any other message if you're in a different page. So we've received the post request and we've got the welcome message. So let's say we need their contact information. So I'll just hit 1 and then hit send. So the post request is received. Now let's say we want to order snacks, right? That is the main function. So we'll just test that. So 2. And yes, it is working. So let us just finish this process. So I'll just enter 2 again. So hit send. Now the usual address, so New Delhi. And let me just hit send. The post request is received and everything is working. So let me just test the recurring thing. So I'll just send hi again. And we should get the welcome message back. Yeah. So everything is working as intended. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. So this section is being created on demand as a lot of students felt that the functionality of Automatic is limited. That is, you are restricted to only plain text messaging, and you cannot send images or media files through Automatic. And another thing is that Automatic is not very stable or reliable. That is, it has a few bugs here and there, and also sometimes the reply is not at all sent. And apart from these two reasons, a few students were facing issues with Twilio as well. So one common issue was a few students were unable to access Twilio at all in their country. That is, Twilio was not at all providing services. And another reason is that in a few regions, Twilio's pricing is extremely high, so it is not very affordable for a few students. So in order to solve those problems, I have decided to create this section. So this section uses WhatsApp web automation. So if you don't know what WhatsApp web is, just go to web.whatsapp.com and you'll find this web page. So this will kind of enable you to use WhatsApp on your computer. So the steps are given here. So you can just open your WhatsApp on your phone and just select link devices and then just scan this QR code and you'll be able to use WhatsApp on your computer. So a popular way of doing this in Python is through a module called Selenium. So Selenium is used for web automation. It helps us access the web components on a website. So for example, I can just click on this or I can just, type something on a website through code. So you can simulate typing and also you can simulate some special keys and combos and all these things. So that is one way. But there are a few problems that we will face if we use this way. Let me just tell you what those are. So number one is that you'll have to learn Selenium. So it is not very hard to learn, but one thing is you'll have to learn Selenium. And the second thing is just to send a message or receive a message or observe for new messages on WhatsApp. There is a lot of boilerplate code that has to be written. And if at all you want to send media or files, then there is some more boilerplate code that you'll have to write. So there is sort of a starting overhead for this. And the third problem is if at all WhatsApp updates its website, then in that case, you'll have to update your code as well. So these are the three problems that you will face. So in order to address these problems, we'll be using a library. So the advantages of using library is that we'll not have any of these problems. So the first thing is you don't have to learn Selenium. And the second thing is you don't have to write any boilerplate code. And if you want to send message, then we can directly use the methods which are already defined and ready for us to use. And if something on WhatsApp web changes, then the library will also be updated. So you just have to update the library. And that is pretty much it. So we will not really face any of the issues that I've just mentioned. And also we'll save a lot of our time. And I'll get to what this library is and how to implement and all these things in the next video. And until then, just make sure that you understand what WhatsApp web is and just have your phone in handy as well. So we just have to scan the QR code in the next video. And I'll see you there. Bye. So the library that I was talking about is from an organization called OpenWA. So as you can see, Open WhatsApp provides a set of tools to help us facilitate our WhatsApp automation projects. Their main library is written in Node.js, but we need not worry as it also exposes an API through which we can interact using WhatsApp Automate socket client Python. Now you might also notice this Python library, but the problem with this is that this is being deprecated in the future, so it is not very future proof, and they also advise us to use WA Automate socket client Python. So this is what we'll be using. Now let us jump into the implementation. So just open up your PyCharm. Now, first of all, open up terminal and type in npx. So npx comes bundled with npm and node.js. So you need not install it as a separate module. So this is already installed if you have npm or node.js installed. So just type in npx space @ open dash wa slash wa dash automate space. As we will be using the socket to connect, just type in dash dash socket space dash p, and we will be running on port 5000. So just type in 5000 and hit enter. Now, if you're installing it for the first time, it will take quite a while to install. And once it is done installing, you will see a QR code. So you'll have to scan the QR code with your mobile. So this installing might take quite a while. So I'll come back once it is done. So once it is done installing, you will see this colorful menu, and you will also get a QR code. So as you can see, this QR code is appearing. So I'll just kind of zoom out so that it will be easy for me to scan. So let me zoom out even more and even further, and may maximize the terminal a little bit. And now it is not at all visible. So let me just wait some time so that there will be another QR. So yeah, there is another QR. So let me zoom out. So now I'm able to scan. So let me just scan this. So you'll have to scan the lowest one. I've done a mistake now. So now I'm scanning the lowest one. So in case your phone does not recognize, just scroll down. Okay. So now I have scanned it. And as you can see, let me zoom in again. So OpenWA is ready for account, and API Explorer is set up successfully. Socket is ready, and port 5000 is now free. And this is the URL of API Explorer. So you can go to this URL and see what all methods are available in the API. And it is listening on port 5000. So now we'll have to create a connection with this API using our Python client. And you might have observed that these files are created once we have run this command. So these files are basically related to our WhatsApp session data. Next time you actually run this, you need not actually scan the QR. It will directly log in using the data available here. Now let us create the Python file to connect with this API. So now I'll just right click and new and file. Now I'll name it web.py. You can name it whatever you want. Now, before we get started, we'll have to install the socket client library. That is this one. So you can just copy this entire thing. So up to this point, so WA automate socket client. So Python is not required. And let us create a new terminal. So I'll just right click and select split right. And I'll just type in pip install, and I'll paste whatever I have copied. So let me just do that, and I'll just hit enter. Yeah, so this is also installed. So now we just have to import the library and connect to the API, right? Now let's just do that. So to do that, you'll have to first type in from WA automate underscore socket underscore client import, and you'll be importing something called socket client. All right. So this is what you'll have to do first. And next, you'll have to initialize the client to connect with this API, right? So to do so, just type in client equals socket client of. Now you'll have to give the API's URL. So you are connecting this client to this API. So the API's URL is this particular thing, HTTP :// localhost 5000. So you can just copy until this, or I'll just type it because it's a bit hard to copy. So I'll just type in HTTP :/ localhost 5000 is our port, and then again /. That's it. Now let us run this, and we'll get a confirmation when we run this. So first of all, we'll just run the usual command, that is nodemon space the file's name. So in this case, it's web.py. So I'll just type in that. Now, as you can see, it is connected to socket, and this is the socket's ID. So basically our Python client is connected to our API, right? And in the next video, we'll see how to read in incoming messages and how to respond to them, which is sort of the main part. All right. So I'll see you there. Bye. All right. Now it's time to run the function. So first of all, we'll just run the usual command, that is nodemon space the file's name. So in this case, it's web.py. So I'll just type in that. Now, as you can see, it is connected to socket, and this is the socket's ID. So basically our Python client is connected to our API, right? So now let us create a function which will respond whenever we get a message, right? So I'll just type in def reply. So which is also the function which we have already, defined, but this will take in an argument called message. I mean, this argument can be anything, but I'd like to name it message. And whenever a message comes, we need its text and number. And in this library, the text and number are kind of nested in this message object. So they are nested a few layers deep inside this message object. So if you want to kind of explore what is in this message, you can just print message, but that will expose a lot of things. So that is why I'm not showing it here. Oops, sorry about that. I saved this file. So I was getting some error. But anyway, the message contains a lot of data, so it exposes quite a lot of data. So that is why I'm not really showing it here. But I'll show you how to get the text and number. So first we'll get the data. So data equals message of data. And then text is hidden inside data of text, and number is in data of from, right? Now I'll just print the text. So whenever we get any message, we'll print the text. And now it's time for us to run this reply whenever we get a message. To do that, first of all, just type in client dot on message. So whenever we get a message, we'll just run the function reply. And that is pretty much it. And let me just save it now. And now it is connected to the socket. Now let me just show my phone, right? So this is my phone. So first let me just send hi. And as you can see, hi is printed, right? Now in order to send something back, we'll use the function client dot send text. And we are sending text to number. And what do we send them back? Let us send them good morning, right? And if you want to send an image, you can also do that. So first, let us test this, right? Now let me just save it. And this is also restarted. Now let me just go back to my phone and I'll send hello. And as you can see, I got good morning back, right? So this works pretty well. Now let us try for images. So to send an image, all you have to do is just type in client dot send image and then take in the number and then image URL. So image URL, let me just grab something quick. So I got this from Unsplash. And after that, you'll just have to type in what the file's name would be. So I'll just type in image. And finally, you'll have to type in the caption, that is what appears on the image. So that will be caption. Right, now I'll just save it. Now let's test it on my mobile. Now I'll say hi. So I got this good morning as well as an image with this caption. And so that is pretty much the main functions. and I'm pretty sure you can kind of use this implementation for this particular thing. And all you have to do is just replace this res of reply plus equals for all occurrences, and then just replace it with client dot send message. And if you want to send an image, then you'll have to replace it using this. So that is pretty much it for this video. And in the next video, I'll show you how to send media that is stored locally in your device. All right, so I'll see you there. Bye. All right, welcome back. In this video, I'll show you how to send local images and media through this library. So it is actually very simple to do it. So instead of this particular link, you just have to specify the path of your image, right? So let me just remove this thing inside quotation marks. And now I have an image called image.jpg. So I'll just mention that. And this is with respect to this file, right? Now, since it is in the same path of this file, that is web.py, I don't really need to specify any other thing except image.jpg, right? That is all I have to do. Now I'll just save it, right? And now let us test it, right? So this is my WhatsApp, and I'll just send hi. So we receive good morning and the image. And let's just check if this is working properly. So I'll just change this to iPhone. And let me just send hi again. And now as you can see, this reflects the changes. So this is as simple as that. And in case you have a lot of images, then you can just create a new directory. And I'll just call it images. And you can just move this image.jpg into this images. And I'll click on refactor, and you get a preview for some reason. And after that, we can just change the path to images/image.jpg, right? So now this points to this directory, and inside this directory, we have our image.jpg. So now I'll save again, and let me just send hi. So as you can see, this works, right? And another thing is you can kind of replace send image by send file because apparently they are the same thing. So the reason why I'm suggesting this is so that you have a universally same way of sending all the things. But if you like to be specific, then you can also use send image, right? Now I'll just save it again, and let me just show you that it works. So yeah, it works. Now let us move on to videos, right? Now to send videos, what you have to do is you'll have to use a flag called use Chrome, right? Now where do you have to use the flag? So basically in the npx command, right? So in this particular terminal, instead of npx @openwa/wa automate -- socket -p5000, along with that, you'll also have to mention that use Chrome is true, right? Now, how do we do that? Let me just show you. First, I'll kind of close this session by just right clicking it, and then I'll just close session, right? Now you'll get these errors in this particular terminal, but don't really worry about it. So basically, it kind of tries to establish connection every second. So that is why you're getting these errors. Don't really worry about it. So until then, let us create another terminal. So I'll just click on split right. And now I'll just type in npx @openwa/wa automate. And then we'll just do -- socket -p5000. Now along with this, we'll also type in -- use Chrome equals true, right? And now we'll just run this, right? So as you can see, now it is connected to the socket. So we are ready to test, right? So now let us try by sending videos, right? So just let me create a new line. Now I'll just send client dot send file. So we can use this syntax for all the attachments. So number, comma. Now I have this file video.mp4. Let me try to send that. So I'll have in the quotation marks, I'll have video.mp4. And now I'll just save it and everything is restarted. So now let me just send hi again. So we've got this image and we've got our video as well. So now you'll also have the preview. So this is as easy as that. And in the next video, I'll show you how to send stickers and how to react to a message. And also I'll show you what all functions are available in this library and how you can explore those functions. All right, so I'll see you there. Bye. All right, welcome back. So in this video, you'll learn to send stickers and also react to a message. And finally, I'll show you all the features that you can explore in this automation library. So I have tried to cover the most important features, but in case you need something very specific, I am pretty sure that this automation library has those particular features. So let's get started. So to send stickers, all you have to do is just type in the same client dot send image as sticker. So now you'll be sending an image as sticker. And since I only have this one image for now saved, so I'll be using the same image and I'll save it. So let me just try again. So I'll say hi. So I've got good morning, then image, then the video, and finally the sticker. So this is working as expected. Now, in case you want to see like more things or what all you can do with the bot, you can do a lot of things with this particular library. So all the functions that you can do in this bot are given in this particular website. So you can just go through this documentation. So as you can see, instead of just on message, you can also kind of use all these other events. So you can also react to many other things rather than just on message. That is, you can do on any message, on battery, on broadcast, on button. So there are a lot of these things, and on story as well. So since there are these many things, it is hard for me to kind of go through each one of them. So I think depending on your use case, you can use any of them, right? So you can use this contact block, create a message collector, and cut chat cache. So these are kind of a little advanced, and I don't think you'll be needing these. But in case you do, you can use it. And along with that, let's say you want to react to something. Let me just search for react, right? So you have on reaction event, but that is not what we want. Um, yeah, so I have this react. So as you can see, you can react to a message. So all you need is a message ID of the message you want to react to, and also an emoji, right? So you'll need this message ID as well as an emoji. So let's just do this. All right. So to get the message ID, all you have to do is just type in ID equals data of ID. So you'll get the message ID as easy as this. And all you have to do is just type in client dot react, and then you just mention the message ID. So you can rename this to message ID if you want. And now since this is a small function, we don't really have any ambiguities. So that is why I'm kind of leaving it as ID. So now here you'll have to insert an emoji. So in Windows, you can get the emoji selected by hitting Windows plus dot. So as you can see, I got this emoji selector and I'll just use heart, right? So not these ones, these are not standard ones. So yeah, otherwise I'll just use the like emoji. So this is the like emoji. So I think you've got this. And IntelliJS fonts are kind of interpreting it as something else. So I'll just save it and now let us test it. So I'll send hi. So we've got this and we've got this as well. And finally we'll get a sticker. And now we'll have this reaction as well. So isn't that pretty cool? So I think you get the idea. So if you want to experiment with any of this stuff, so you can just go to this website and you can just test out all these functions. All right. And all these functions are kind of a part or methods of client. So if you want to send a Jiffy or a Giphy, so you can just type in client.send Giphy. And I assume you'll have to specify a URL. So to chat ID and Jiffy media URL, you can just send that Jiffy. All right. So that is pretty much it for this video. In the next video, I'll just tell you what are the deployment methods that are available. All right. So I'll see you there. Bye. All right. So in this video, I'll show you the deployment methods that are available for you to deploy the API as well as the Python client. So to deploy the API, there is one simple way of doing it. It is through this particular boilerplate. So OpenWA has created a boilerplate to deploy the API to Heroku. So you can just go to this and then just follow these instructions. And one thing is you'll have to sort of create an API key whenever you run the API. So that can be done using the -k flag. So let me just show you that. So here there is a -k flag, and here you'll have to enter the API key. And if you enter an API key, you'll also have to enter it in the client in the second argument of socket client. So just make sure to do that. And if you forget to do that, then it will be automatically created and you'll have to access the key from the logs, right? So this is one way of deploying the API. Otherwise, you can, create a VM and then deploy it over there. So there are many providers like AWS or Azure or IBM Cloud. So you can use any of these. Now coming to the client, that is WhatsApp Automate Socket Client Python, all you have to do is just run a Python script. So for this, I suggest using Python Anywhere. So you can just host, run, and code Python in the cloud. So this is very easy to get started. So just click on Start Running Python, and then you'll just have to create a beginner account and just fill out all these details. And then you'll get a tour. So you can just end it. I mean, you can go through the tour, but I'll just end it. And after this, just click on Browse Files. I mean, I'm just showing the simple way of just running a Python script. And here, let us create a new file. I'll call it web.py, right? And I'll click on New File. And here we can run it. So let us run a simple Python script. So let me just type in while true, print hey. And we'll just sleep for some time before executing it again. Otherwise, it'll consume a lot of CPU. So we'll sleep for 2 seconds and we'll have to import sleep. So from time, import sleep, and we'll just save it and we'll just run it. So as you can see, it is preparing execution environment. And he is printed once, twice, thrice. And even if we go back and come again, it is still running. So this is one way, but this gets reset, once the CPU gets used enough. And to kind of upgrade this, you can upgrade your account. And I would suggest this hacker tier is enough for the automation bot. But if you're running it on a bigger scale, then you can just try this or this or this, depending on how many requests that you get or how many messages that you'll have to reply to. And if you want to run it all the time, then you can just go to tasks. And then this is if you want to schedule a task during this time. So if you just want to run during this period, you can do this. And if you want to run all the time, then you can use always on tasks. and these are kept running all the time and restarted if they crash. And as you can see, they are only for paid accounts, so you'll have to upgrade it because it uses quite a lot of CPU. So yeah, so this is one way of hosting, or you can just buy a VM on Amazon or Azure Cloud and then run it over there. So that is pretty much it with this section, and I think this will solve all the problems that you've had in the past, and I'll see you later. Bye.